sukkah goes
should
down.
all
I said, I'll take it.
have volume
I didn't
control
inspect
at
it.
the right time.
I didn't do anything, which was
So it
pretty
doesn't
stupid, by the way, but
become like a
I
big
should have.
mess.
Have what?
But it was
Volume
funny.
control.
Why, am I
All I
not-
wanted to know was
you
something
think
going
I've been through
down.
a lot too?
No, meaning that we shouldn't talk over you while you're trying to get
No, I thought you meant no, because you know.
All right, everybody ready?
First of all, L'chaim Tzikale, we should remember the Abister put us here to look at ourselves as something less than somebody who can change the world in a complete way is complete denial of the Abister. In other words, if the Abister, if you are not somebody who can change the world, not if you have basically with what you have right now, if you couldn't change the world, the Abister so why the Abister put you here? L'chaim Tzikale, we should realize that we are the ones the Abister put us now in the times to bring Mashiach, to reveal Mashiach. He's here already. Well, that means we're the ones. And if we don't see it, we better start seeing it because he put us here for a reason.
You think it was the
So, Mendel, we're live, but we're not recording yet, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, you're right. Good point. I should record.
Hello, everybody. Clap your hands.
Should
Oh,
record
you're
it
looking
too.
good.
Record
down
to
just a little
this
bit.
computer.
We're going to sing my
I'm
song
here
the
just
whole
to
day.
pour it
long.
to the
We're gonna
glass.
do the twist, and it goes like
Perfect.
this.
Okay, now we're good.
Like it did last year.
Okay, ready?
Twist again. Like it did last year.
No, that's way too loud. I can't
That'll
do
cut right
that.
through it.
I can't do that.
Mendel.
Twisting time is here.
Second we get
This way at least has to be
Around
some-
and around and around.
Some gas to get out there.
go again. Oh, baby, let me know you love me so.
Here we go.
And then, yeah, let's go.
All right, Utsu Eitza. 2, 3, 4. Okay, sounds all right. Sorry, I have to do a sound check. All right. Okay, Chavre. So Bezalel is not here today, and therefore we're gonna learn. We're gonna learn. I'm gonna have to wing it here and learn a minor with you from the Alter Rebbe, from Teira Eil. Yeah, Fragi, Teira Eil. And we're gonna start now. Yeah, I'm not Bezalel. No story.
Wait, why he says froggy? Explain that.
Oh, we'll talk about that later.
All right, I thought there's a deep vart.
Neide Bashayim Baila.
Hold on, before you say that, what time is it?
What time is it?
What? See? Thanks, Aishi.
Anytime.
What time is it?
Time is
So the Alter Rebbe begins. Ze yitnu kol ha'ivir al apkudim. This they will give. This, why he said this? Because he actually showed Moshe. He showed him the half a shekel that the Jews would give. He showed him actually exactly what it is. And this they will give all who pass through the count. Machzis shekel b'shekel hakodesh, half a shekel, right? Half of a shekel of the holy shekel. Esrim hagera hashekel. This shekel, the whole shekel is 20 gera. That's a gera is a weight, and the whole shekel weighs 20 gera. They will give half of this. Machzis shekel truma lahavayit. Half of a shekel, a truma to the Eibishter. Okay, so we have to understand a few things here. First of all, what is this? Why is it called a shekel? Second of all, does he specially have to tell us that it weighs 20 gera? And third of all, why couldn't he just tell us that the Machzis shekel was 10 gera? Why he has to tell you the whole shekel weighs 20 gera, and you'll give half a shekel, which is 10 gera? And also, we have to understand what is this idea of why does it say that kol ha'ivra al pkutin, anybody who passes through the count, this is the one that should give Machzis shekel. Anyways, that's a lot of questions. You don't have to remember them. He will look at them point by point throughout the Maimon. And he will start by explaining like this. Ksiv neida b'sha'orim baila. In Eishes Chayil, a woman of valor, ezog dvasleib, neida b'sha'orim baila. She knows her husband in the gates. Okay? So, what is well, let's talk about this. Shakadosh Baruch Hu Baal, that Hashem, the Holy One, blessed be He, is the husband. Shall call Nisham Yisrael, of every Jewish soul. Shemashpia lekol echad, because He gives over a shefa, He influences, He gives over an influence to every single one. So we know, right, that the Jewish soul is the wife, and the husband is Hashem. And on this it says in Zehar that she knows in the husband, the neshama knows in the gates of the husband, this is Hashem. Right? And why is he called the husband? Because Hashem is the one that gives over he gives over to every soul the ruchnius, the spirituality, and the power to be at the highest spiritual level. Shekol avo ayira sheyesh lekol neshama Yisrael. That all love or fear that any soul from the Jews have, it all comes from the Eibishter. Ulekol chad lepum shiuradile. Every single one of Hersvagi, every single one of them according to his measure. Ulefi masha nichnas b'she'orim, and what enters in his gates. This is what he's telling us is this is the meaning of she knows her husband in the gates, meaning a shiur, a shar can mean a gate, or a shiur, a measurement. Meaning according to the measurements, according to this measurement, right, he gives over this ruchnis, this ava and yira, this love and fear of Hashem. Right? So, and by the way, these both things, they both in the same vein. In other words, according to his measurement or what enters his gates is the same thing. Sheheim dalit she'orim, this is the 4 gates. Ava v'yira, teiro mitzvahs. What these are the 4 gates? The love of Hashem, fear of Hashem, right? Torah, and the mitzvahs, the commandments. They like to say mitzvah, good deed, and this is a big hunk of baloney. A mitzvah is not a good deed, because a good deed usually, it is a good deed, but usually when we say a good deed, we think like according to what the man decides is a good deed. But this is not. But a commandment is what Hashem said is a good deed. You know. Oh look, it's the other Gimel. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
It's good to see you, brother.
Yeah, fix your mustache. It's good. And these 4 gates, love of Hashem, fear of Hashem, Torah and mitzvahs, These is the 4 letters of Yud and the Hey and the Vav and Hey, Hashem's name. These are the 4 gates also. That in other words, the connection between Hashem, between a person and Hashem, is made through 4 ways of serving him. Love, fear, Torah, mitzvahs. Right? Torah and commandments. That these 4 things is the Yud, the first Yud is fear of Hashem. The Hey is love of Hashem. The Vav is the Torah, Fragi. And the Hey is the commandments, the mitzvahs. And the going into the gates is through these things. That's how you go, how she knows her husband through the gates is through these 4 things. Right? So, Lahavim said, Rebbe asks, if the Eibishter, if Hashem gives all these things, why? You're listening or you're listening to the cans being smushed over there? Well, I'm not training you for yeshiva. Why? Hells.
I'm listening.
Okay, good.
Close.
So hells. So the Alter Rebbe,
The 4
he asks.
gates.
So the Alter Rebbe, he asks, is we're saying that all of these
4
things,
gates.
we're saying that all of these things
4
is
gates.
from Hashem, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
A year of Torah mitzvahs.
Yeah, Ava, love, fear of Hashem, love of Hashem, fear of Hashem, the Torah and the commandments. 4 gates. Can you count? I'm not sure. Either make one more l'chaim or one less l'chaim. But since you can't make one less l'chaim, anyways. So here's the question Alter Rebbe asks: if it's all coming from Hashem, then where is your free choice? What's the thing that you're involved with? It's saying that Hashem is the one that gives the love and the fear and all these things He gives to a person. Well, then what's your free choice? Certainly there must be something that's depending on the free choice of mankind. Otherwise, what's the whole thing that Hashem tells us that you should choose this and you should choose this, you should choose the good and not the evil and the life and not the death? Why He's telling us this if nothing is dependent on us? Okay, so the Va'ir is there. To understand this, so Alter Rebbe says we need to understand there's some things that come from our free choice and some things come from above, and now we need to understand what is these things. So to understand it, we have to understand what's written. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Hero Israel. The Hashem is our God, Hashem is one. And then after that, there's written, you should love Hashem God. So, so first it says, Hear, O Israel. In other words, do contemplation, O Israel, on the fact that Hashem, Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, is your God, Yud-Kei Vav-Kei is one. And then it says, Ve'ohavta, and you shall love. So the Alter Rebbe says there's 2 meanings in Ve'ohavta, and you shall love. One is a commandment, and you shall love. Right? This is meaning Hashem is telling you that I'm commanding. Oh, monster! I'm commanding you to love. Right? The echad loshin osid. And one is in a way that it's meaning a future, meaning it's inevitable. It's an inevitable thing that when you do Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Echad, Ve'ohavta, and you will love, as an automatic outcome of this thing, right? That it's going to come by itself. So that's the first parak. We have 5 more to go. But first, Anigin. Anigin. Yo, I did it.
Good one.
Yeah. Hey yo, I did it, 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 hey yo, I did it, I did it, I did it, I did it, hey did it, I did it, I did it, hey ya, I did it, Hey, yo, Good job, Kevin. Anyways, Perek base. Why my house?
Yes.
You what I said? I said
Base.
Perek base. Yeah. That's what I said. Okay. So the last time when we before the niggin we explained that what that the last thing we said was there was two kinds of love, right? For a hafta and you will love Hashem. One is for a hafta command and you shall love, a commandment, something you should do. And the second one is given as a gift from above, from the Eibishter. It's not something that's dependent on us. That you, after and you will love inevitably without your involvement. You will love. The Indian Abba Rishena. So now Dr. Rebbe is going to explain the first level of love, meaning the love that the first one, that the love that comes from your actions. He may his beinenus. This comes from his beinenus. What's his beinenus? His beinenus means deep analytical thinking and going over and over and over and over again the subject matter. On what? And this brings to this love. Vehainu, what does this mean? This is beinenus. And what are you doing is beinenus? Lehavin bedaite, that he should go over and learn Chassidis and understand very deep in his mind. That the unity of Hashem in the seven skies and the earth and the four winds, the four directions, right? Meaning that's why Echad, as we know, right? What's Echad? Echad is Aleph, Ches, Dalet, right? That we understand that the Ches, it means one. It stands in the when you convert it into numbers. It's 184. So 184 does mean that the seven heavens and the earth, and the Dalit, the four directions, is all really completely nullified and included in the one. So this is Echad. It's all really part of Hashem's essence, and it really doesn't. It's not there. And thinking about the idea of Ani Hashem Avaya Leisha Nisi, I am Avaya, I did not change. In other words, She'ein Leishum Shinei, Kimei Kedim Bria Seilam, Kein Hu Mamish Ata. Just like before the world was created, so too he is now. Just like before was him, was only Hashem alone. Right? And nothing outside of him. So too now also, after he created the world, there's also nothing outside of him. It's also only him. All the worlds, they are nullified in a complete nullification to him. As is known. That Hashem, that it says Havaye is this like the sun, and the name Elokim is like the shield. In other words, that the name Elokim is like a shield that covers over the sun, so it gives us an impression as if there could be a different Metzius, a different entity besides him. That us people in the world, we can look around and think that we are an entity, or we can think that our world is an entity, and that it's not complete Hashem, and this is all false, right? And it could look to us because of this, because Hashem hid himself, that we can have a perception like we and our world have some sort of entity, like we exist. Right? But it's not true. Why? Like the Rebbe continues, Ki b'dvar Hashem shomayim nasu, o beruach piv kol tzivon. That with the voids of Hashem, with the void of Hashem, the heavens was made, and with the air, with the breath of his mouth, all of its multitudes. That the source of the world is just the void of Hashem, right? Like we know he said, you see, he let there be light, that this is actually what's creating that there should be light in this world, which is the building blocks of the whole earth. With my flesh, I grasp the Eibster, Adam like a person. In other words, that when you look at yourself, you can understand the Eibster. The Eibster made us a person. He made us a muscle for him. Right? That when a person, when he thinks of a thought, this thought is in his noodle, right, with a total actus. It's not something outside of him. The thought is one with him, right? After, when it comes out of his mouth, it becomes something separate. He has expressed this thought and gesendet to the outside of himself. Stay slave.
Say it, don't spray it.
Yeah, exactly. But when you say avoid, it becomes outside of yourself. Right? That in other words, when a thought is in yourself, it's one with you. But when it comes out, it becomes a separate thing. Right? And when you think a thing, right, and you want to tell it to somebody else, but when it's still in your brain, it didn't go to him, it's only in you, it's part of you. And it's completely unified. Just so all the worlds, before they was made, right, it was like his thought of the worlds, was one with him. Just like our speech is one with Leib Herbst, Fragi. You're going to get a knas in a second. Anyways.
Just like the good old days.
Anyways. Anyways, just so the worlds, before they was created, was one with him, right? Just like a person that the thought is in his head, and it's one with him before it's expressed, so to the worlds, when it was in Hashem's head, is one with him, right? And just so too, we realize that even the speech, when it comes out, right, that it looks like another thing, really it's completely nullified to the thought. Because really, with the voice is nothing but an expression of that thought. How do we know this? Because the voids, when you're speaking them, you can only say so many voids so fast, right? But in your brain, you can say many, many voids very, very fast, very fast. You can say to no end. You can have a million conversations in your mind with yourself.
Aha.
But should you?
Yeah.
Zwinkele, we won't talk about this right now. I'm still talking to my shrink about this. But in your mind, you can have hundreds and millions to no end. You can have conversations with yourself. And the proof, by the way, is when you dream, right? You can dream. You can sleep for 5 minutes and dream months of time in these 5 minutes. Because your brain, you can have, but when you speak it with your mouth, because your mouth, because the way puppets are made, right, is you can only move the hand that's in your tongue. The hand that guides you, it's a children's show. The hand that guides you can only speak so quickly. Right? Cain, Kola, Elami, so too is all the worlds. I hope you're thinking about the next niggin we're going to do right now, by the way, because we're getting towards the end of this parak, so we're doing no niggin soon. Cain, Kola, Elami, Kishem, Rak, Dibur, Echad, that there was only one phrase of Hashem's speech. But where do they come from? They come from Hashem's chachma, from Hashem's wisdom, from Hashem's intellect, from Hashem's brain. Kaviyachel, in other words, obviously it's not like our brain. Like it says that it came out of lightning, like a lightning. It shot out from the chachma. And he creates in his goodness, he creates all the worlds from new. Now, what's the difference, Fagi? Why first? So, you're listening. What's the difference between the Eibishter and a person? The difference is that a person, when it's in his mind, it's bottled. But when it comes out of his mouth, it becomes his own entity. But by the Eibishter, also before he made the worlds, it's all completely bottled inside him. But by the Eibishter, even after he makes the worlds, even after he says the speech, it's also only one with him. You know why? Because, Fagi, do you know what's outside of you? No, not so much. Let me ask somebody else. Yisrael, what's outside of you? There's a void, there's other people, right? Why? Do you see things outside of yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, what's outside of the Eibishter?
Nothing.
So in the Eibishter, when we express our speech, we're expressing into something outside of ourselves. But the Eibishter can't express into something outside of himself because nothing is outside of him. Oh, hello. Because nothing is outside of himself. Therefore, by the Eibishter, also when it was in his mind, and even when he expressed it, it's still inside of him, because nothing is outside of him. That's why everything by the Eibishter is like nothing. It's like Onish. It's all the same. The highest of oils and the lowest of oils is all the same by him. Label it. Let me have an ashtikel. Oh wait, but I have my phone, Blake. We have to share this show somewhere. How is it, Blake? We put this here.
It's not being shared.
No. This is an old school
It's a
production.
second chord.
Here, share. Post. Original. Yeah, you start playing it. Is that a naked? Which one is it?
My God.
Oh, I love it. It sounds like my girl. Oh, that's very lead belly.
My God.
Oh, Tatiaki, won't you do a good thing? And please turn with your people. And the angels all sing, oh glorious King, won't you please return with your people? They made you a crown, won't you come down and please turn with your people? Oh, Tatiaki, turn with your people. Take it away, boys. return with your people, and the angels all sing, oh glorious King, won't you return with your people? They make you a crowd, but won't you come down? Return with your people. Oh, Tatia, you know thing. Return with your people. Take it away, boys. Return with boys. Perek Gimel. So he just explained how the word of Hashem makes the world, and the whole world is included in him. And now we're going to explain that even within the worlds themselves, it's also the same. In other words, that the lower world is like a speech, and the world on top of it is thought. So it's not just that Hashem is thought and the bottom world is speech, but each world is a thought to the world under it, and a speech compared to the world on top of it. How's why? Yeah. Also the worlds, they are completely not. In other words, this is he explaining you how great the Eibishter is. It's not just that we down here are completely nullified to the Eibishter, but we are nullified to the world above us, and that world to the world above it, and that world to the world above it, and to the no end until finally it's nullified to the Eibishter. Verstehst du, why? Yeah. Who's our Eibishter?
The world and the world.
This guy who chose us.
The world.
The world. The word.
The world.
It's the word.
The world
is like a word.
And that world, that's a world higher than it, is called speech. Compared to us, it's called thought. It's like a thought to a speech. That it's completely bottled and nullified to it. It's nullified to it. Just like he's giving a mashal, he's giving an allegory, that the voids of a teacher, the thoughts of a teacher become his voids. His voids he tells to the student, and what does it become to the student? Thoughts. Fragi, you were listening. I'm so happy. If you give Fragi al-Chaim or something. Exactly. It becomes the thought of the student. But this thought of the student was what by the mashpia that's higher than him, by the teacher higher than him. It was voids. Now it comes that this student becomes a professor himself, and remember that his thought is only the voids of his teacher, but now his voids will become the thoughts of his student. And now that student, his voids, from that thought will come voids, and that will become the thought of his student. So this is the allegory, and of course we understand that by the Eibishter, what and the voids, that's what the allegory is that each void is only receives from the speech that's above it, and becomes the thought, and by itself becomes a thought, and then gives over a speech to the below it. Which Malchus, by the way, his speech is Malchus. V'zehu leis machshavit tfisa be'klal. This is the meaning that no intellect can grasp him. This doesn't just mean our intellect, our chazerish garbage intellect. It's not talking about. This we know. We can hardly grasp how to play Tati El King, right? So we can grasp the Eibishter. But it's not talking about, what it's saying is, leis machshavit tfisa bei. Even machshave can't grasp him. In other words, even that which to us is a machshave, even that which we are bottled to, that which we are nullified to, even that can't grasp him. Finally somebody says something with some tachlis to it. The Hainu, meaning even the very upper world, that they are a level of complete thought. They completely nullified to him. They hold no place by him. Because he is higher than any intellect, not just our intellect, any intellect. The intellect of the angels, the intellect of the tzaddikim in Gan Eden, in the Garden of Eden. The Zehu stima the kosa tisim. It's like it says in Pasach Eliyahu. We say on Friday, we say before Minche, right? That Eliyahu, that he explained the whole Seder Shtalshvus, and he says, "Antu, you are stima the kosa stima, the hidden of the hidden. Tamira, you are the
Buried.
The buried of all Shkoyach Tzvikala.
That's what Tamira means.
I know. By the way, that's Tzvikala is the dictionary because the guy with his influence behind me, was that a clean way of saying it?
Okay.
He's very limited on the voids, but Tzvika has more voids. By the way, voids is important because with voids you can express. Anyways, the hidden of hidden and the buried of buried. So why you have to say it's hidden of hidden and buried of buried? Af me'ilim is they call him stimo tamiro. Who sasmu tamer, even from these worlds that to us we call them hidden and buried, he is hidden and buried even to them. The race machshavet tfisa, and even the greatest of thoughts, the greatest of comprehensions of any creation of any being cannot grasp him, leib, lomer, hirin, anigin, baby. No, I don't think it's all you, baby. Okay.
Go for it. Have fun.
By the way, Leib is on Wikipedia. It says Leib smuggler, and under there it says the band leader of his I'll show you.
Hey!
Here we go. Here we go. Hey! Oh, Tarek! Tarek! Okay, so now we're going to talk about this. Ve'al ze nemar hatzivui. And on this it says the commandment. Remember, before we said there's two levels of ve'ohavta, and you should love and you will love Hashem. One is ve'ohavta, a commandment, and you shall love Hashem. The other one is will happen by itself. So now he's explaining this one of what you need to do. Remember, we were just talking about this bainus. Do is bainus about the unity of Hashem, about how far Hashem is removed from the world, and yet He loves us and watches our every action. And He's so removed that everything is the same by Him, and yet He chose us. On this it says the commandment, and you should love Havaya your God. She is beinin kol kach be'echad mamish, that he will do, that he will think so deeply and so widely on echad, on this concept of unity. Sheyiyeh Havaya eleikecha, that Havaya will be his God, that Havaya will be guiding every step of him. B'chol levavecha, with all of his heart, with all of his soul, with all of his much. That's the translation.
Everything.
With all of his everything. With everything. The Hainu, that what is this? Machshava, dibur maaseh. Thought, speech, action. That he will not have. Don't worry, he's going to explain this in a second, because when I say this, you're going to go, wait, what? He will not have any of his own thoughts, speech, and actions. Only those which are completely nullified to he who is higher than all intellect. And no intellect can grasp him. Why? Because if we're going to do V'ahavta, if we're going to do Bechol, that we're going to be connected to Hashem with all of our being, how can it be with our thoughts and our action, our speech? We know that a person is not capable of thinking only about physical things, because that's his understanding, is physical things. And certainly he can't, when you take it down, certainly he can't, yeah, exactly. Certainly he can't act with Hashem, because the only thing a person can act with is for sure only physical things. Vizahu sheker gamur, why my health? Zahu sheker gamur. This is complete lies, meaning the Gashmis doesn't exist. This table you think is here in front of you, that body you think that you have, that these flowers you think, oh, they're nice. Anyways, these flowers you think you have, they're not, they sheker, they complete lies. They don't exist because it's all only Eibishter. V'zehu b'chol nafshecha. And this is with all of your soul. The Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh means like giving over your life, giving over your soul. But we can explain like this. What does it mean Mesiras Nefesh? Ki nefesh kol adam hu machshava dibur ma'aseh. Because what is your soul? Your soul, it can only enclose itself in three things. Your soul. What was that? Your soul. Oh, hey, ha ha, was machst du, my mom? Hey, I did it, I did it. Oh, good to see you. Because the soul can only has three tools. Health, Israel, health. Your soul has three tools that it can do something with. What are they?
A lot.
It can only three. It can think, it can speak, it can do. That's all you got. You tell me something you can do outside those three things. Can you think of one? Anything you do, that's you're doing. And then when you tell me about it, that's deeper when you're speaking about it. And then when you think about the next one you're gonna buy that's gonna make such a plume, that's my show. That's your thinking about. Now that's a meiser. The coughing is a meiser. Anyways. Right? And so we need to, so this means to give when we do a hisbeinus, when we think about what Hashem is, and then He shows us, we will give every thought, every speech, every action only to Hashem. Now the Alter Rebbe cuts us a break here. He says, being that this is not possible, right? To be without any thoughts, because for a person to be without any of his own thoughts, or his own speech or his own actions, he will die.
That'd be pretty
So,
close.
by the way, you should know, by the way, to be what he's talking about, to be if you give over your whole thought and your whole mind and your whole speech and your whole action to the Eibishter, you know what it's called? It's called Kol Sanafesh, where the soul leaves your body. This is what the sons of Aaron did, and it's not the right way. Because they gave their whole soul for the Eibishter, and what happened? They died! Gestorben! Herr Zwickele! They hope and died.
Gestorben, yeah.
Gedeiht. Yeah.
So,
Lochein. So if that's the case, so how can we do this? Very simple. Well, it's not, it is very simple, but only after he explains it. Lochein tzorch lekasher machshavtei v'diburi u'maisav. So what you need to do, Helsfragi, is connect your thought, connect your speech, connect your action. Liyes markova lerotzen elyon, to be a chariot for Hashem's will. We're doing Torah mitzvahs. In other words, when we're talking about Torah, we're thinking, right, with our thought, right? But we're allowing our thought, even though we have a human thought, right? Even though we have a chazresh, a human thought, and a speech and an action, we allow it to become something that's a vehicle for Hashem by using our discussions, right? Our thinking about our discussions and our actions to do Torah mitzvahs. We will talk about Torah together. It's our thoughts. It's true, but we are making it our thoughts is just a chariot. It's just a vehicle for Hashem, right? When two Jews get together, we do an action, we make it l'chaim, but we're doing it only for Hashem and to become close to Hashem, right?
Right.
The eraise michoch menafkis. That the Torah comes from Chachma, meaning it comes from not from our Chachma or from Hashem's Chachma, which is higher than intellect. Wait, how is Chachma, how is wisdom higher than intellect? Because it's not talking about our Chachma, our wisdom. It's talking about the wisdom in Atzilus, which, like we know in Pasach Eliyahu says that Chakim v'lo b'Chachma yediyah. It's a Chachma, but it's not the kind of Chachma that's our Chachma. It's a Chachma that's nothing like our intellect. So this Chachma is higher than intellect. And this is what it says, that anybody who does one mitzvah according to halacha, that he merits the life of Elam Haba, he merits the Meis Mashiach, he becomes a Mashiach person. What does it mean? Wait, if you do one mitzvah, you become Mashiach person?
yes.
Oh, the Alter Rebbe explains. He explains. Kolo isa mitzvah achas. everyone who learns how to do a mitzvah in a way of achas, in a way that he becomes one with the Eibishter, in a one that he's recognizing that I'm only doing this because the one told me to do this. And that's the only reason I'm learning Torah, not because I'm smart, and not because I'm going to show you what Ibn Chacham I am, but because of achas, because Hashem is one, told me to do this. Then he becomes a Mashiach person. He becomes like a tzvikale, he becomes Mashiach. Why? Because it's not about some schmuck who told you this and that and the other. No, I do this mitzvah because Hashem, you want me to do it. I'm doing it because you want. And it's true that the Torah enclosed itself in physical things. Isur veheter. Well, this you're allowed and that you're not allowed. You can put the crack pot on, but you can't turn it off. You need to put a foil over here and a foil over there. You need to cover it for Pesach, your entire house in aluminum foil, and your children and their bassinet, etc. Right? This is physical. We know that foil is a physical thing, right? The culture cane. This is Torah. That the Torah is we're thinking about it, right? It helps. We're thinking about Gashmis things in the Torah. We're discussing them. We're thinking about it. The culture cane ma'isa mitzvahs. Certainly the mitzvah themselves. Shehem b'dvarim Gashmi mamish. It's filling is made out of the tuchs of a cow. I'm sorry, people.
Skin.
The skin of the influence of the skin of a cow, right? And everything, every mitzvah
And the hair of a cow.
What?
The hair
of a cow, and every mitzvah, right? Can make tzedakah b'mamim. That tzedakah is with physical money. Trust me. If a poor person comes to you and you tell him, "Well, I'm going to give you a spiritual donation," you're a putz. Okay, because you didn't do the mitzvah because you need to take $1 out of your pocket and give it to him. Okay, so how is this? So how is this? So how does this work? How does it come down to these things, these physical things? How do we connect to that? So who can mashal asayras and imshachis min hameach, like the hair that comes out of the brain. We know Chassidus teaches that the hair is like the waste matter of the brain. So you can see how much hair I have. I have a lot of waste matter. Me and YY, we got some work to do. Late not so much. I think it's a tzaddik gomer.
That's a good way to think about balding.
See?
That's the spirit.
But if you look in your brain, there's no hair there. Right? So the same thing. The Torah mitzvah is the same thing. But these physical things, they come out of Hashem's chachma. You'll say, wait, but there's no physical things in Hashem's chachma. But it's just like the hair. There's no hair in the chachma, but yet the hair can come out of the chachma. It is an obligation. By the way, he doesn't. You'll notice here. By the way, something very interesting. He doesn't say on every Jew. He says on every person, and because it's like this. This thing, it's one of the 7 mitzvahs, the Noahide laws for all mankind, not just for the Jew. Is that it is an obligation for every human being to think about this thing, to do a deep contemplation on this thing of God is one. And by doing his mitzvahs, by doing that which he commanded us, we connect to him. So this is the thing that is that, like, remember he said there's something that's connected on you, depends on you, and some things Hashem gives you as a gift. So this is the power. This is by your free will, every person. And now, let's have a late. What's Nick gonna do? Ooh, ready? So I'm not fear Mashiach will be here this year. I'm not fear Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach now. We don't want to wait. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach now. We don't want to wait. Hey!
Hey, Adkan.
The second explanation of and you should love Havaya your God. Like what was the first? Remember the first explanation? The first one was Vahavta is a command, and you shall love.
Herst bye.
Helst. And you shall love. It's a commandment, something you should do. What was the second explanation of Vahavta? And you will love, not by your own choice. In other words, if you do Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, automatically, inevitably, indubitably, will come Vahavta. Haba Memelo B'chinas Avarabba. This is called the Avarabba, the great love. This is the one that he was talking about in the beginning. That the Neder Hasharim Baile, that she will know her husband. That Hashem is the one who gives all of the fear and the love. Is this level, the second level that comes by itself, because it's higher than our ability. And in this, it's talking about Shema, meaning listen here. Let me explain this a second, because you have to understand what he's talking about, why he's saying this.
In other words,
because in the other level of his baininus, of you doing contemplation, like Hillel Paritcher explains in his explanation on the Shah Yichud of the Mittel Rebbe, that Shema Yisrael, what does it mean Shema? Hearing means the hearing of the mind, the meaning is baininus. That hearing is, in other words, that the Re'iyah see. Why doesn't it say see Israel? Because see means chachma, like in an intuitive way, and bina in a studious way, in an analytical way, and Shema Yisrael means do his baininus, contemplate Israel on Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. So he says, but that the contemplate is talking about the second level of the first level of Avta, that is a commandment to you. However, there's also, just like there's two levels of Yohavta and you shall love, one being and you shall love, the other one being that automatically you will love, just so there's also two levels of Shema. There's a Shema here, O Israel. There's a Shema that leads to the level of and you shall hear, and there's a Shema that leads to the level of and you will hear automatically. So was there in this way the Pirush Shema Loshin Shemiyah. The explanation of Shema, Hear O Israel, means listening. In other words, meaning, when you listen, you're not involved. In other words, if you tell me, why? If you tell me something and I listen, what, did I do anything? No, I sat there and I listened. Now, the listening of his baininus of contemplation is very, it's very consuming. I have to do a lot of work. But then there's this listen. So this Shema in this means also two things. It means one, just listen. It means receive it. Receive, O Israel. Listen, O Israel. Receive, and from that will be after in it automatically. Just like in the first way is that do his baininus, do contemplation, and in this way will be that you will Hashem again, there will be the Vahavta, and you will love Hashem with your like. Right? And so now, so that's what he explains there. Ah, yeah. Mother, give us, oh yeah.
Where's Schneider?
Give us-
Schneider! Oh, yeah! There he is.
There he is.
What are you doing over
Yeah.
there?
So according to what we explain, we understand that there's two things, that there's a Shema, a Perush, an explanation of Shema connected with that V'ahavta, and a Shema connected with that V'ahavta. That V'ahavta, the way that you commanded to do V'ahavta, this is through Shema in the way of his bainos, of doing great toil and thinking about Hashem in depth in a way. However, the V'ahavta, and you will love, that comes by itself, that comes from above, comes out of the other explanation of Shema, which means just listening, just hearing it. Why? Is that ever funny to you?
Bye-bye.
By the way, this is exactly what Yeshiva is like. You should. Anyway, V'zeh nikra shekel hakodesh kesef. By the way, now he's getting deep into it. V'zeh nikra shekel hakodesh kesef. This is why it's called a holy shekel of silver. L'shein nichseif nichsafta. Nichseif means love, like a deep, deep love. How deep is your love?
Yearning.
Oh, just listen to that.
Yearning.
Bechinas ava
Kisufim is yearning.
yearnings. It's yearnings. Like for example, what was his yearnings? $50. No, different kind of yearning.
Yoini.
Bechinas ava. But it means, but nichseif, it means love. It comes from love. It's in other words, nichseif nichsafti is the deep love for the Bechinas ava, this level of deep of great love. Right? So this is why. How do we know this? Because the shekel is made of kasef of silver, which comes from this kisufim and ava, right? And it's called the shekel. How does it come? B'mishkol.
Where's your nickname?
It comes shekel. What does shekel come from? From mishkol, weight. It's weight. Why weight? Meaning, like the Rebbe said before, kol chad lepum sheyured ilay, each person according to his own level.
Measurement.
B'fchinas asay tevis u'mirah, according to how much he did do good and stay away from evil. Do the positive mitzvahs and don't do the negative mitzvahs. Right?
Right.
V'hu b'chinas eiver l'aseicher. Okay, and this is what does it mean, kesef? Like we know by Avraham Avinu, it says kesef eiver l'aseicher. Hey, sheep, don't get like this. Make another l'chaim.
I'm about to go on the floor here.
Oh, the floor. By the way, you have a great floor. Don't worry about it. And this is called eiver l'aseicher.
A tremendous floor.
It's past the seicher. What is seicher? It means a merchant. That we know by Avraham Avinu, he gave Ephraim to buy the cave of Machpelah to buy, right, where he's buried with his wife, and where Yitzhak and with everybody, right. And what is Seicher? Why is it called the Seicher? Seicher comes from Secher, go around, and this is why it's called it, because a Seicher is somebody who goes around. He's always going around.
Surround.
But it also means Sechei going out, meaning Segev Kol Almin the Makifin, the levels that surround the world because it's too high to come down into the world of Toyu, in other words. And that the Kesef is Eiver La Seicher. It's past the Seicher. It's even higher than this level of Toyu of Segev Kol Almin. It's even higher than than the lights that surround the world. In other words, it's from God Himself. V'zehu arba mei shekel kesef. And this is what it says by Abraham. 400 shekel of silver, which this is the 400 royal dechesofin l'olmad osi that they was hidden away, treasured away. They was put away for the world to come for the tzaddikim. But we know that when we do our mitzvah down here, we can get a little piece of the action, so to speak. You're laughing about the white. Max is over there.
You have a new friend there.
Yeah, he's very pretty. Yeah, he's a very handsome guy.
Looks like
So now he's going to explain something very beautiful. So now he's going to explain one of his little questions. So he's asking, so why does it say 20 gela is a shekel, and then you give half a shekel? Why not just say 10 gela? Because he's explaining that there's these two things, these two ahavtos, these two shemas. There's the one that comes from you, and the one that comes from the Eibishter, from your wife down here, and from Hashem, and then Hashem gives you. That each one of them has 10 levels. Chabad, Chagas, Nehim, right? Chochma, Bina, Das, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Everything has these 10 things in it. So Esrim Geira, meaning why is it 20, is the part that you give is 10, and the part that Hashem gives is 10. This is 20. Right? And this is the 20 Geira of the shekel. That together it makes 20. And we're going to bring it all together. We have one more page to go. But first, very short one, but first, label it. Maybe we should do something Atifa and something. How to say? Ooh, that sounds hard to get ready. Stairway to Heaven. Oh! Chaim, my wife. Share, like. Perek! Vav! It's the final paragraph.
Hey.
Vizehu, and now he's going to pull it all. Now the Alter Rebbe is going to tie it all together. Vizehu ki Sisa es reish b'nei Yisrael of Kudeim. And this is the meaning when you will raise the head of b'nei Yisrael to their count. He's going to explain that Pokad has also the meaning also, by the way.
To their count.
Command.
Dahaino nisha.
Command that also means.
Also command and also Pokad, redeemed. Redemption. When you raise them to their redemption. Oh, late. Mezayna getting juicy here. Dahaino nishmis Yisrael anikroim reish. Who's the reish? Ki Sisa es reish. The neshamas, the souls of the Jews are called the reish. Because because well, we know that the reish is goyim, is Amalek, but who's the reish? Who's the head of all the nations? Who's the Asher Bachar Bonu? Like what was his name? The German, he was Jewish. He was a Shema. He was a poet and a comedian.
Heinrich Hess.
We're told
Heinrich Heine.
Heinrich Heine. So one of his things was why Asher Bachar Bonu. Actually, Shalom Aleichem used this also. Was Asher Bachar Bonu? You chose us from all the nations. And so he says, thank you, Abraham. You chose us from all the nations. Really? You couldn't choose anybody else. Anyways, but really, the truth is that all of these things that the Jew goes through and has to deal with is because he is the chosen of the nations.
Oi.
You know, and this is when you raise the head of the nations. By the way, the Alter Rebbe in the end, when he ties together, he's not talking about then, he's talking about now, the days of Mashiach. In other words, this is when you will raise the heads of Bnei Yisrael, when you will raise their neshama, right? Lipekudeyem, l'shein v'Hashem pokad esora, that Hashem redeemed Tzorah, right? When He gave her a child. In other words, when you will raise the neshama of Yisrael to their redemption, you will give them their Mashiach Tzidkenu. V'nosnu ish kefer nafshei. And each person will give kefer, comes from the Lashon of kapore. He will give a kapore, an atonement for his soul to Hashem. Meaning, kefer, by the way, also comes from scrubbing and removing. Meaning that first we will remove all the garbage and the disgustingness from the desires of the nefesh bahamis, of the animal soul. Not that the YY would know anything about this, but you have to trust You have to trust out the Rebbe that there's a kake, there's really
Some for other people, yeah.
Yeah. Say so you day, and this is through the love that's from the person that he has for Hashem. And this comes how? By sur meirav aseitei. Work hard, no matter what the Yitzhak tells you, do the positive mitzvahs and stay away from the negative mitzvahs, no matter how hard it is. And it's a funny thing in the world. They think spirituality, it means, oh, I feel spiritual, I feel good. I feel spiritual. Schmuck, you're just feeling yourself. That's what you're feeling.
No, they feel it.
I don't want to go into detail, but you are feeling yourself.
You
because spiritual. Oh, by the way, there's a big difference between feeling spiritual and feeling God. Because sometimes feeling God feels like crap. Sorry to tell you, it feels like crap. I'll give you an example. Because sometimes it comes to you, a lady, and she puts out her hand, and you say, "I'm sorry, I love you so much because you're another person, but I don't shake hands because I'm a religious Jew." We don't say, "Oh, you hate the women."
You women hater, you.
And in other words, and it feels bad. I wish I could just put the hand out to show her that I know. But the Abisha said no. So it's not. I have to follow what Hashem told me, and it doesn't always feel good. And many times it's like this, when you go to put film on another Jew, especially Jews. By the way, they couldn't give us a mitzvah to put film. Hell's Tzvikele.
Just touch the lady.
Tzvikele, hell's Tzvikele. No, they couldn't give us a mitzvah to put film on Goyim. Because that would be easy. Right? The Goyim, oh yeah, sure, it's filling, it sounds great. I love it. It is an ancient tradition that stems back to thousands of years, right? Yeah. It's like it's like if you tell somebody, you tell a Jew, you tell them, oh, look at this is a shamanic thing that goes back to ancient Aztecs and blah, blah, blah. But your religion goes back further than that. But no, all of a sudden we may talk about Judaism. Oh, it's the same thing. If our job was to put film on all the nations, it's good. It would come. It would say, hello, excuse me, sir, are you Jewish? They would say, no. It's perfect. You're not Jewish. Come put film on. You'd say, what's this? It's an ancient tradition. It goes back down. Oh, fantastic. Here's my arm. Here's the sleeve. Oh, leg, film, no problem. A Jew, all of a sudden, what's it called? You tell him, you do a mitzvah, put film. He starts giving you a lecture about Hitler and about race wars. Why? Because our Jew is very self-conscious about the mitzvahs. Why? Because he's connected to them. It's not just a thing. It's like it's a connected thing. Anyways, it was like holding.
Ta-da!
How do we get there?
Ta-da!
So here's the problem. So that's the thing. Is that in other words that the main thing is su mirav aseitei. Is that it's, in other words, what's su mirav? Stay away from evil. Don't do the negative commandment. The things, the negative commandments, don't do those things. The positive commandments, do those things. It's not about it feeling good. It's about I believe b'emunah shalema. I believe with all my puppet heart that Hashem wants me to do this, and whether it feels good, whether it doesn't feel good, whether the matzah costs $14.99 or $28.99, and I can't figure out why something that tastes like this should cost like that. Hashem wants me, and I'm going to do it. Not every person can come. The love, in other words, the love that comes. I love when after Rebbe does this. He gives you like this thing, and you just assume that you learned all the 14 in my mind and proceeded it.
And this Kalayim, right?
So let me explain like this. I'll try very short. It's very simple. That explains, and we know in the Memorim, my Rabbim and the Memorim, that there's a love that comes from the Eibush to every Jew. And this love is in the heart of every Jew, naturally. By the way, a guy can also get this love, but he has to wait for it, but not as hard as a Jew has to wait for it. And he has to accept the 7 mitzvah Noah laws, and he can also connect to Hashem. But there's a love that Hashem puts naturally in every Jew, whether he keeps anything or not. That's higher than any love that you can attain by yourself. The thing is, it's a hidden love. It's hidden inside you. To reveal it, you have to work very hard. So, even though to wait very hard means that you have to finish your weight of the mitzvahs. And when you're a total and complete Jew who does all the mitzvahs the way they should be done, then Hashem will reveal to you this love that's hidden in your own heart. So now, with that being said, in a very nutshell, Lev, I apologize, but the show has to end while it's still this week. And we can't go into Shabbos. Now. Not every Jew can achieve this avarabba, this level of total and complete doing every mitzvah the way it's supposed to be. To be the way, like it says that a whole shekel is 20 geira, is the weight. However, Hashem, so what's Hashem telling you? That the whole shekel is 20 geira. However, what's your responsibility, no matter where you're holding, no matter who you are, is machtis hashekel. This love to think about the Abish, that to spend it all the time you can, to think about how great Hashem is and that He chose you, Tzvikele. Not only you, even this putz with the hand and influencing me, even him. That is an obligation for every Jew. But Hainu bechinatz machzis hashekel. Limseis nafshek lulim eser. That you can't control what the Eibishter gives you from the love and the fear, but what you can control is what you do to give yourself over to Hashem. How much of your thought, action, and speech you devote to the Eibishter. Wait. I want you to think about this for a second. You control how much of your thought, speech, and action you give to Hashem. V'zehu, and this is the meaning. Zeh yitnu. This they should give. Kol ha'over al ha'pekudim. All who pass by the count. Ramach pekudim, like Tzvikele said before, but it doesn't just mean a count, it means commandments. The 248 commandments. Hainu, meaning, even somebody who didn't take advantage of one of these 248 mitzvahs that can bring him close to Hashem, this Jew also must give half a shekel. He's 10. Meaning he still has to try to give his thought, speech, and action to Hashem. U'machtis hashekel, he fragi, putting it down. Is Tuma la Hashem? What does Torah? We know it's Tuma, like from Torah, he raises. This will raise you to Hashem. By the way, I want to tell you one more thing. By the way, this is what it says over here. Osher lo yarbe, v'hadal lo yamit. The rich person will not give more, and the poor will not give less. Also means that the rich person should not see himself as more. That doesn't have to give the matzah shekel. And listen, how's no way. The poor person, the person that thinks, oh, who am I barely doing any mitzvahs. He should not think himself mamit. He should not think himself too little to give matzah shekel. In other words, both the poor person who's poor in mitzvahs and the rich in mitzvahs, no matter how you see yourself in that, give matzah shekel, do Torah mitzvahs, do one more mitzvah to bring Mashiach now, baby!
Remember, kids? Yeah.
Gezintahait.